want to eat them.
All right, so if y'all was listening last week and y'all tuned in to last week's episode, I told you guys how we were basically that I was gonna start taking a class, and it was like a spiritual development class, basically how to master your way of thinking in life, and how it would basically help you to become more successful, how it will, help you with relationships in your life, just basically moving forward and being the best you that you can be. Found the class through a friend who sent it to me it was a website called Mindvalley.com. And I'm not sure if you guys know Michael Beckwith. He's like a spiritual...
Asshole.
I want to kind of... teacher. And he has a quote unquote like a church, like a spiritual center called Agape. And he's really good. He teaches a lot. I feel like just teaches you how to like fucking be the best you can be in life.
Wow.
To me.
The army.
Right, because my way of thinking was obviously jacked up. So the first week what we did was that we learned about victim consciousness. And like, there's different ways of living life, how it happens. You either live life with the thought of like, life is happening to me, or that means like something is like doing things to you throughout life. Like whether that be outside source, like, oh, the devil did this to me, God did this to me, whatever. Mm-hmm. Or it's happening by me, which is like kind of like manifesting and you have control of your life, through me, which means that's like the next level, which means so that's to me, by me, through me, which means like life is happening through me. I'm just a vessel. Mm-hmm. And then it's just as me. Now, as me, I'm going to be totally honest, I still don't understand as me.
Yeah, I was going to be confused about that one.
As me, like, I feel like life is just happening.
As me.
Like, that's the top level, and I still don't get it. Just to be honest.
Maybe it's as you, like, you know how they be like, oh, your body's just a vessel.
That was,
maybe
but that's
as you.
Isn't that the other one?
I feel like that's through you. But as me, life is happening as me. I still need, maybe like further down the road and a couple weeks later, I'll understand that better. But I just wanted to like share about like victim consciousness, which I feel like a lot of us live in.
Every single day.
Every single day, like something's happening or something happens in life and you're like, oh, why does this have to happen to me? Like shit's always happening to me, so on and so forth. That happens. It was so crazy because that first day lesson was about victim consciousness, and then the next day was a snowstorm, and of course snowstorm. I'm like, oh goodness, I'm like going out there getting ready to like snow blow. I'm annoyed because I have to get up early, start my car early, dust stuff off extra early. You know what I mean? Like you just have to get up and do stuff that you wasn't planning on doing in the morning, and what happens? I get my snowblower out, crank it up, go take about 4 steps, shuts off. Shuts off, and I'm just like, what the is going on? Like, I'm just like, the first thing I do is like, of course, this always has happened to me. First snowstorm, and of course, my snowblower's not working. Then I start thinking, how much is this gonna cost? How I'm gonna get the snowblower is big, so then you have to like transport it a certain way, and like how I'm gonna get this fixed, and so on and so forth. Woe is me, and then of course I call, like the first thing I always do is like I'll start texting somebody to complain or call my mom and be like, guess what just happened? Of course, and I start going into victim mode automatically. Like that's just normally what I would do. And then after I did all that, I started to remember, like, Kevin, we just talked about this. We just talked about this in this class. We just talked about this. So I said, you know what? Let me step back. And I just was like, what did I say? To myself, like, think about it like as positive as you can. Like, okay, you know what? My snowblower's not working. Let me break out my shovel. This will be my morning workout. And, and then it's whatever. I'll get it done. And then when I get it done, I'll get my snowblower. I'll see what it's like to get it, how much, whatever I need to do to get it fixed. I'll deal with that when I have to deal with it, and you know. So I did everything, shoveled, got my morning workout. Called my stepfather to bring the truck over so I could get it to Home Depot to get it fixed. So get to Home Depot and the guy's like, he's helping somebody else. The guy in front of me, he's kind of like complaining. He's like, he's basically turned around to me and was like, yeah, guess what? It's going to take 5 weeks. They have a 5-week, like, I don't know. Yeah, basically, that's how busy they are with the snowblowers and everything. He's like, he's complaining. I'm like, and I'm in my head, I'm like, bro, oh, really? 5 weeks? I'm like, you know, and then the guy who's like works there is like kind of like just going through his thing, doing whatever he needs to do. I'm like, let me not. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, let me not like be that customer. Mm-hmm. Like, cause he's probably already like dealing with mad people.
And then his fault.
Right. So I just stood in like a positive energy. I just was standing there, and then he was like, "What's wrong with the thing?" I was like, "It's just not starting." It started, then went off. He was like, "Okay." He left, and he actually took somebody else before me that was returning something. And my first initial reaction is to be like, "Seriously, you're gonna take somebody? I was here first." That's my first initial reaction to do that. And I said, "Let me not say nothing." I don't know what was coming over me that. I was just like, let me not say it. Let him do what he does. Maybe this is going to be real quick. He signed him out and then he can take care of me. And that's what he did. So he did that, let them return. He went back into the back and got the mechanic to come out. He was like, it's not working. He overlooked, the mechanic looked it over real quick. He's like, I'm going to bring it back. He's like, it's just, he smelled something. He's like, oh, it's the gas. You used old gas.
Oh.
And he was like, you only can use gas, but gas is only good for 3 weeks. I didn't know that.
How old was your gas?
Shit, it was in a container, right? I was like, it's gas, shit. I'm going to use that gas. I still got it, pour it in, whatever. And he actually fixed the problem, put more gas, in 5 minutes, didn't charge me nothing.
Nice.
Wow.
And it was just kind of like, in my head while I was sitting, I was like looking in my bank account, trying to make sure, because I'm like, how much is it going to cost me? Like $200 to make sure I have the money in my bank, just because I don't want to be embarrassed when I'm there. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to think like financially, like, do I need to be getting this fixed right now? Can I afford to get it fixed? And look what happened. It was fixed for me for free. And then also in that same, I think it was the day later, was the next class, it was talking about financial abundance. Don't necessarily think about it as money coming into your bank account. Think about money sometimes when money's not leaving your bank account. Mm-hmm. Something you get for free. Something where you don't have to pay for something. If you get a coupon or a deal on something, think about the money that's not leaving your bank account rather than money that is just coming into your bank account. So it's kind of like changing the perspective and everything else and changing your train of your thought process. Yeah. And I was like, damn, I didn't have to spend no money on this. I was looking to spend $200 at least on getting this fixed, and look, I didn't have to spend it. Thank you. I thanked the guy. I thanked both of them. And then on the way out, I was like, I actually ordered them a pizza for lunch, and they didn't
Wow,
and had them like had it delivered there. I was like, I'd rather spend $20 to $30 on doing that than spend $200. And I was just like,
if you would have let that guy set you off, and you would have went up there like you
having an attitude or whatever, right? Yeah. Having an attitude, and then he would have never helped me. Like I would have never helped me if I had an attitude. So it's just like things like that. It's like changing your thought process. Just 2 days in that class, and you're kind of like thinking, like you're thinking differently, and it's all about your approach and how you're thinking. So it was like taking yourself out of victim consciousness, and when I was looking at the parts of my life that were in victim consciousness, it was like majority of my life. Yeah. Financial, like woe is me. Relationships, love life, woe is like, why does this keep on happening to me? All this other stuff. So it was like that different way of thinking. Anything? Did y'all like? So when we did this, like they talk about like having a tribe and people to talk to about stuff like this and reflect and everything else. Like, did y'all feel like y'all was in victim consciousness in any way, shape, or form last week, or like in any?
I had a similar story to yours. Like I do Amazon, right? Mm-hmm. So, I got to the station. I got there like super early so I can like get in, get my packages, get out, and get started like ahead of time. Because
we know how that takes up a good amount of time, just getting your packages and stuff.
So I get there and there's like not a good amount of people there, but it's not like a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So we pull inside the dock into the station. We're waiting, and and waiting and waiting and waiting. And they have this thing now where you can't go up to get the actual like package. They bring it to your car. You have to stay with your car. So there were cars in front of me that were waiting, but then people who pulled in behind me got their packages before me, and I'm just like, I'm about to cuss everybody out because I'm like, why am I standing here? I have not gotten my packages, and people who come in after me getting their packages. So I was gonna start. I was there for like at least a good 15 minutes just waiting. But then I was like, let me just wait and see what happens. Let me just be quiet. Let me just be quiet. So the manager came over and he was like, thanks for being patient, whatever. We're gonna give you a very small route. Bitch, I got a package.
One package?
A package. I was done.
How many hours?
I was done in like a half an hour.
Wow.
It was a 3-hour route for $90 and I was done in a half an hour.
Wow.
Because I didn't complain. He was just like, thanks for being patient. I really appreciate it because it's just been crazy in here today. So just, for your patience, I'm going to give you like a really small route. And I got a package. And I was out. But I was done in like less than no time. And then something else happened with the financial part. I ordered something on Amazon. And it was like since like Black Friday. And I hadn't gotten it yet. And I was just like, what the hell? Why is it taking so long? Every time I checked it was like delayed due to weather. So I was getting upset. I called them. I was just like, I don't know what's going on with my package, blah, blah, blah. They gave me a refund. Next day, got my package. So I got the package and I got a refund.
Nice.
So just like...
things like that. Like you're being more conscious of it and you're like, yeah, like this is a bonus. This is a financial bonus.
Yeah, because I got my money back, but I still got my item. So
that happened to me too. That same exact thing happened. Like it was taking too long for it to come. I had like we have a window, and then like after that window, if it doesn't come, then you file the complaint or whatever. That happened. I got my money back. And the package, I think, is supposed to be getting here like in a couple of days still. But it still wasn't here. So now I got like, that's that financial bonus. Like,
all the fucking scammers.
No, it really, like, that's just,
it tells you to call them if it doesn't get here in certain amount of days. And that's what I did. And it came. I don't know. So
it's just like, I can't wait. Like, I'm literally, like, this class is so, like, I love this class. Like, every day, like, it unlocks a certain lesson. So it's kind of like, I think it's cool like that because in some ways I feel like I would have went through each lesson like if it was unlocked, I would have been going through lessons like I want to learn more, I want more, I want more. But the trick is to like sit in that one lesson for the day and really like practice it. And that's another thing was like I kind of was feeling bad because I was taking notes and I was trying to remember stuff and it was like and then he said in the class, Michael's said, this is not about learning all these spiritual terminologies and everything. You don't have to know each name to this like either like this tactic or this like theory or whatever. You don't have to know the names. It's about practicing it, and that's what I felt good about. That like as long as you're practicing it and you understand what's going on and you understand it, you don't need to know that it's called victim consciousness necessarily or something like that. You know what I mean? You don't need to know that it's called like I don't know, like some of the
through you or
like you don't really like, but I find myself like some of the stuff is like repetitive and it's going on throughout all the lessons, so it kind of like sticks with you. But yeah, I'm liking it so far. So I think every week what we're gonna do is kind of like update y'all and like maybe y'all will end up wanting to take the class or check out mindvalley.com and see if there's any other like classes.
Or we could fucking teach it to you, but we're gonna have to charge.
I ain't that good. It's not that like. What I would love actually would be like to go on like a tour and do it, like like just to do it with different people.
Like a fucking New York bus tour?
Not like a New York bus tour, like we're Brunchigos, right? And just go on tour and like we have certain like lessons
New York bus tour.
Like if we become mastery in some like a master's or something, like be able to go around and like teach you because this really does help you within life.
Would want to hear from me.
But you want to hear it in a real way because it's about life. That's what I needed. I didn't want to learn or take any class to do it like an accounting class or something like that. I wanted to learn something that was going to help me with real life.
Well, I don't know if that would sound like $250.
So, in a second. Moving on. So we're going to update you and we'll go on and then we'll update you guys next week with what lessons we learned.
That's only $250, right?
So we'll now be getting into what's next? Pop culture? Yes. Boop. See you soon.